Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to the Icarus Report. If you're not familiar with this type of video on the channel, this is what I generally use to vent my opinion and provide my own 2 cents on recent video game news and video game happenings. Now, I haven't done one of these in a while, and that's chiefly because I've been a bit busy with other stuff, and when it comes down to video game related news, it's not very long before it's whooshed past with hundreds upon hundreds of other people already commentating all over it, leaving not very much left to be said. This last week or so, however, a bunch of items have popped up, and they've piqued my interest, so I thought, sod it, why not bring back the Icarus Report? So here we are, and first on the list here is Hitman. Now, I've spoken about Hitman in the past, talked about how the episodic release model was very much a double-edged sword. Since then, episodes 2 and 3 have released, and they encompass 2 new locations, with Sapienza in particular proving especially impressive and rather fun to mess around in. Recently, however, the developers of Hitman decided to release 2 summer bonus episodes, unrelated to the main storyline, and they essentially change up things in those pre-existing locations. You're thinking that's pretty generous of them, it's pretty nice for them to offer that extra wonderful content. Only, there's a little bit of a catch here. You can only gain access to these bonus episodes if you currently have access to the full experience pack, meaning you've essentially already bought the full game. Or, alternatively, if you've bought the intro pack and then gone for the full upgrade pack. At first, I admit it's hard to see the issue here. Of course it would make sense to reward those who've already stumped up the full price to support Hitman, but what about those who decided to buy each episode individually, beyond the intro pack? What if they decided it was worth the plunge to buy into the full game so they could enjoy that bonus content? Surely there'd be something in place to let them upgrade without having to pay for some of that same content all over again, right? Right? Wrong! So yeah, turns out if you want to upgrade, and if you've already bought into episodes 2 and 3 separately, it turns out you're pretty much screwed. There is no option to fill in the remaining blanks for a reduced price, only the option to buy the upgrade pack, which as you can see, includes episodes 2 through 7. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a load of bullshit. Considering in the UK that the intro pack plus 2 of those individual episodes costs nearly £25, and the upgrade pack costs $32.99, any poor bastard who wants to upgrade will end up paying almost £18 more than the guy who simply picked up the full experience from the very beginning, paying $39.99. Does that sound fair to you? Does it bollocks? I do have to stress though, this isn't a big old whinge about how episodic customers don't get the bonus content. It may be dickish, but I get it. It's intended for customers of the whole package. What I'm not fine with is providing an episodic model for a game that actively screws over episodic customers that do wish to upgrade. Just for the sake of context here, the bonus content wasn't even announced till the 14th of June, and by that point, the Sapienza and Marrakesh episodes had already been released. So either way you cut it, the episodic customers who were justifiably wary of going all in on an incomplete game get completely shafted in this deal. Square Enix, IO Interactive, you're making it very, very tough for me to enjoy Hitman right now. In fact, you're actively making it hard for me to give you money for the content I actually want to enjoy. You know what, I just feel like throwing in the towel on this game. You've demonstrated that you're kind of incompetent with the whole episodic model, and honestly, I just don't feel like giving you my money anymore. I suppose in that regard, you could probably call the episodic model a success? Either way, I'm just gonna go spend my money on some dumb fun like Earth Defense Force 4, but for the sake of everyone else still invested in Hitman, sort this shit out. In other news, Evolve has recently gone free-to-play, and to be honest that makes a hell of a lot of sense, because quite frankly, the player base was flatlining, and in its original form, the sheer amount of microtransactions and DLC that were built into it just painted a very dim, negative view of the game, and honestly, it wasn't as compelling as it thought it was. Even now, to be honest, I checked out the free-to-play version of the game, had a bit of a trudge around hunting a monster and playing as a monster, and to be perfectly honest, I was bored shitless. I'm sure it's for some people out there, but hopefully this renewed interest means that it can in fact reach that wider audience, because the whole original issue was you were paying full price for a game that didn't really seem to have enough content to justify the price tag. But now people can leap in. There's absolutely no stipulations, no catches. I don't think there's even any microtransaction stuff right now, and they can judge it for themselves on its own merits. But personally, it's not for me. It's not my particular pace, not my particular cup of tea. But best of luck to the thing. I hope it actually, finds a second wind in its current incarnation. Elsewhere, however, there is news that Dead Rising is finally making its way to the PC, and I could not be happier about that. I was a really big fan of the game when I had my 360. I played the ever-loving crap out of it, got a lot of fond memories, and it was always a little bit of a head-scratcher why it never made the transition to PC. I mean, we've got Dead Rising 2, we got Dead Rising 3, but no original Dead Rising, and it seems that Capcom were holding off on pulling that particular trigger because they were readying Dead Rising for the remaster treatment. So it's going to get jazzed up, it's going to get a little bit of a spit and polish, and hopefully brought up to more modern standards, because not only is it coming to the PC, but it will also be coming to the Xbox One and the PS4. In terms of the remaster treatment though, I'm curious as to whether it will go beyond a graphical overhaul. Maybe they'll tweak a little bit of the gameplay, you never know. I distinctly recall that there were some horrendously frustrating segments in the original game where you had to escort certain survivors from tricky parts of the mall back to the safe room. I'm wondering if they'll try and iron that out, make it slightly less frustrating, maybe make the AI of the survivors less resemble, I don't know, a rock with googly eyes, but that's for the future. And anything beyond that would just be pure speculation, really. But what isn't pure speculation is that Dead Rising 2 is also going to receive the remaster treatment. Now, personally, I haven't played Dead Rising 2. For some reason, I never really got around to playing it, but I've been assured that it is still a rather fun game, and I'll be eagerly awaiting to check it out in a new, shiny, updated format. But with that out of the way, there's just one final item left on my list here, and I'd be neglectful in my duties on the Icarus Report if I didn't at least talk about Pokemon Go. Good grief! Did Nintendo even anticipate how absolutely crazy the world would go for this? I don't think they knew what they had here, but people were downloading unofficial versions of this app for their phones before it was officially released. They were just so eager to get their hands on Pokemon Go, and now that it's officially released in quite a lot of countries worldwide, you've got all of these absolutely insane events unfolding as a result. You've got a lot of social gatherings of people coming together. It's absolutely wonderful, and then you've got terrifying stuff like people, mass crowds, running across the road just to try and catch a rare Pokemon on the other friggin' side. It's caused a lot of people to do a lot of very stupid things at the expense of their own and other people's safety. Another kind of terrifying thing is someone stumbled across a dead body while playing Pokemon Go. I don't think that is something that they can catch in a ball or would want to, but yeah, even I've fallen victim to the thing. But the one saving grace for me, the one thing that's stopping me from going full obsessive over this thing, is I've got a really crap network. It basically means that I have to go walking for roughly 20 minutes to the shore in my town to actually get a decent signal so I can actually play the thing. So on one hand, it's getting me out the house. On the other hand, I have to wait 20 minutes to play friggin' Pokemon Go. And I'm wondering if this will factor into the services of various mobile providers here in the UK. There'll be a lot of people crying out for the ability to actually play this game, and it is usually very heavily dependent on you having a very good cellular data signal. So it could actually influence change in the mobile network. That is a crazy amount of influence it could have. I've been even reading things about countries in the Middle East showing a lot of concern because they'll get people stood outside stuff like classified installations, waving the smartphone around, and they're thinking they're maybe spying or some crazy shit like that. It's a rabbit hole that I don't think we've found the bottom of just yet, and I can guarantee over the next coming weeks there's gonna be a lot of very insane Pokemon Go stories, and I eagerly await them with open arms. But anyway, that's it for this episode of the Icarus Report. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've found it interesting. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments below. But until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.